Good afternoon. Today I'm going to walk through a Form W-4, Employees Withholding Certificate. These forms are normally furnished by your HR department, or you can download one from the IRS website. And so this is a 2021 version, which is very different than previous years. This is what the form looks like. In filling out this form, you will go step by step. So step one here is asking for your first name, middle initial, and last name. And so we'll just fill it out, John Doe, and provide a number for social. Make sure to put in your address. And a city and zip. And so step C, you'll put your filing status for the previous year or what you anticipate it to be for the current upcoming year. And so we'll go one by one. The first one would be single or married filing separately. So you would identify that by putting an X in the box or a check. You will move down to the next steps. It lets you know that says complete steps 2 through 4 only if they apply to you. Otherwise, skip to 5. And so step 2 says multiple jobs or a spouse works. But since this is a single person, we will skip that and we'll say that they only have one job. Step 3, if they don't have any dependents, we will skip this part. And step 4, if they didn't want to add any other additional adjustments, then it would just lead to step 5, where you would just sign your name and date it. Now, using the same scenario for a single person, we can go back and say, okay, if this person does have multiple jobs for step 2, where it says multiple jobs or spouse works. And so if you have multiple jobs, you read through this scenario here where it tells you to do one of the following. It says you can use the estimator at the IRS website, and this is the web address, to get the most accurate information for your withholding. Or you can use the multiple job worksheet on page 3 and enter the results on 4C below. And so page 3 will give you a rough accurate of your withholding. C is for people that have 2 jobs and they're relatively the same, whether you're married or single. If the amounts you're being paid from both jobs are pretty much the same, you can get by just checking this box here. And when you check that box, they will estimate the withholding for you. And so let's say we're going to go with scenario B, where we're going to fill out the worksheet. And so we will go to page 3 as it indicates here. And so now this is a single person that has more than one job. And so the worksheet on page 3, here where it says 2 jobs, if you have two jobs or you're married filing jointly and you and your spouse each have one job, find the amount from the appropriate table on page 4. Use the higher paying job on the row and the lower paying job on the column to find the amount. Then skip to 3. So now we're going to go. So this is how this works. We go to page 4, and this is how you use this table. So we're dealing with a single person. He has more than one job, or she. And so say the first job is somewhere around 60 to 79,000. So this is your first indicator. Then the second job is a part-time job where they're making 20 to 30,000, which would be in this column. So now you will find where they intersect, which is this 4690. So now you will use that amount, the 4690, to place on this row, $4,690. And so we're not dealing with 3 jobs. We're going to skip 2. We go down to number 3, where it says enter the number of pay periods per year for the highest paying job. For example, if that job pays weekly, enter 52. If it pays every other week, enter 26. If it pays monthly, enter 12. And so in this scenario, let's say it's someone and they're getting paid monthly for the highest paying job. So that's 12. So then you'll take the 4690 and divide it by 12. And so the amount becomes $390. $390.83. And so this line is the one that actually spells out exactly to do that. Divide the annual amount on line 1 or line 2C by the number of pay periods on line 3. And so enter this amount here and in step 4C on form W4. So now the 390.83 from this worksheet, we go back to the original form. We go down to step 4C, which is here, and you're going to enter this $380.93. So for a single person with 2 jobs, that takes care of step 2. The amount, no matter what you calculate, is always going to come down to this line here on 4C. Now we're going to look at step 3, and let's say this person, instead of not having dependents, let's say they do have dependents. So let's say they have 3 children, just for the sake of filling this out. They have 2 children that are under 17 and 1 that's over 17. And so if your total income would be $200,000 or less, $400,000 if married filing joint. And so their income is less than $200,000. So multiply the number of qualifying children under the age 17 by 2,000. And so we said they had 2 children. So that would give you $4,000. And then multiply the number of other dependents by 500. So let's say they have another dependent, maybe a parent. And so you'll multiply, that'll give you $500 for the other dependent. So now add the amounts above and enter the total here. So that's $4,500. So now we've completed step 2, step 3, and step 4. There's also items here for step 4. If you do want to take additional deductions or you have some more complex information on your return and you want to reflect it on this W4, you can do those worksheets and enter that. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're just not going to worry about those additional deductions. We're just going to worry about the major ones. And so we've completed all of those major deductions. You have your amounts. All you do now is sign and date, and the form is completed. Now we go back and let's look at the form for married filing jointly. So I'll take this information out. And so married filing jointly, again, you would check the second box. You'll move down to step 2. So in this scenario, if only one spouse worked, you would skip step 2. If they didn't have any dependents, you would skip step 3 and you move directly down and just sign at step 5, just like you would if it was a single person with one income. If it's married filing joint and both spouses work, now you have to use step 2. So in step 2, it tells you complete this step if you hold more than one job at a time, or are married filing jointly and your spouse also works. And so in this scenario, if the spouse also works, we can use one of the 3 scenarios. You can go directly to the IRS website and get the most accurate information. You can use the rough accurate withholding schedule like we just did a second ago with this form. Or you can, if you roughly make about the same amount of money, you could just check this box and move on to the next step. So let's say we don't check the box, that we go ahead and use the table again. So we go back over here to this step. Let's take out the amounts. Okay, so we're dealing with a married couple who both have an income. So instead of using the single married filing separately bracket here, we'll move up to this table at the top where it's married filing jointly or qualifying widower. And so here you would take the highest paying job again on the left hand side. So if one spouse is making $80,000 to $99,000, and then another spouse is making $50,000 to maybe $55,000, which will put you in this category here, you will find where they'll intersect, and that's at $83.40. So now you move back to the worksheet. You put the $8,340 in. Again, you move down to question 3. And let's say the pay periods again are 12. They could be for the highest paying job. They can get paid monthly. Then you will take the $8,340 and divide it by 12. And that would give you $695. And again, you put it on the worksheet on this line 4, and then you also take it back to the original worksheet. And we go down to 4C again with the $695. Then that completes step 2. Now you'll move to step 3, and let's say they do have some dependents. Maybe they have 3 children under 17. That'll be $6,000, 3 times the $2,000 here. And they may or may not have a parent, or say they do have a parent. And so that's another $500 deduction. So now you total the deductions here, $6,500. This section is complete. Again, you can add additional deductions, mortgage, anything of that nature if you want to go through those extra steps. And then you move on down to the final step 5, and you sign the form and date it. So the last scenario, head of household, you will follow the exact same steps. The only difference is you would just make sure you're checking this box as head of household, whether they have dependents or not, whether they have more than one job would land you on step 2. Whether they have dependents, you will fill out something for step 3. And again, step 4 will capture the information from step 2. And then you also can fill in any additional deductions in A and B of step 4. And then you would just sign the return. So that's how you complete the W-4 for 2021.